All right, welcome back. Today we are in Alabama at the entrance of Mobile Bay, and right now I'm standing inside of Fort Morgan.
And I have to tell, we're at the beach hotel. It was right over there.
Careful, Sonny.
Okay, I will.
The origins of Fort Morgan date back to 1813, when American forces constructed a sand and log fortification named Fort Bowyer, named after Colonel John Bowyer on Mobile Point's eastern tip to guard Mobile Bay. The fort withstood an assault by British land and naval forces in September 1814, but it fell after a second attack in February 1815 following the Battle of New Orleans. Upon receiving word of the ratification of the Treaty of Ghent ending the War of 1812, the British withdrew. Construction on the brick-walled Fort Morgan, named for Revolutionary War Brigadier General Daniel Morgan, the hero of the Battle of Cowpens, began on 479 acres at Mobile Point in 1819. Because of its isolated location, building materials including 40 million slave-made bricks were delivered by ships to the Engineers' Wharf, located north of the 10-sided citadel. The bricks barracks that occupied the parade ground was completed in 1825. Construction of Fort Morgan was finally completed in 1834. The federal government held Fort Morgan with a small force until January 4th, 1861, when the state of Alabama seized the fortification. The Battle of Mobile Bay on August 5th, 1864, was followed by the siege of Fort Morgan by federal naval and land forces, which ended on August 22nd. Confederate General Richard L. Page surrendered Fort Morgan on August 23rd after shelling from U.S. forces caused a fire in the citadel inside of the fort. This fire led to the disposal of gunpowder in the fort cisterns to avoid explosion, which left the fort with little ammunition and no source of water. Following the surrender, members of the U.S. Army held the fort for the remainder of the war until their departure in 1868. In an attempt to update Fort Morgan Post for use in future defense, the federal government began constructing concrete gun emplacements, beginning with Battery Bowyer in 1895. Bowyer was manned for possible hostilities during the Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II.
I like the sword.
Let's see it. Hold it up. Wow. Oh, look at this.
Whoa, Daddy, there's water. There's water on both sides. There's water right there. There's water right there.
This one's way bigger than the one we just went to, huh, buddy?
Oh, yeah. I'll see what it looks like. Whoa.
This is massive.
That is still up the stairs.
Let's go see.
walking road. Right here.
Let's go walk over here, buddy.
Yeah, look at this.
Here, pal.
Oh, what is that? Mom, what is it? That's what I want.
Okay, let's go.
Let's see that sword, bud. Whoa. Pretty cool.
Let's go there.
Antenna.
Oh.
Oh, look at the machine gun right here. This one's dark.
Yeah. Well, and like, how did you get here back in the day?
Yeah.
In the early 1800s. All right, let's go see what else is around here, guys. We're gonna walk back through the tunnel, okay?
Okay. Back through the tunnels.
Oh, let's go in here. Look,
Oh yeah.
ordnance storage. This is where they would store all of the ammunition.
Yeah, all the guns and stuff.
Yeah.
Com pólvora, aí solta aquilo ali. Não dá só pelo chão, para apagar. Botar a pólvora, solta a pólvora.
Whoa, look at this. Ah!
can go up this on the rest, okay?
Here, come here. Let's see what these cannons say. Chloe, come here.
Mom,
Come on, guys, this way.
Mom, come on.
All right, more cannons.
Johnny.
100 PDR, 100 pounder.
Johnny. Get down.
Number 90, 1863.
Get over here now.
In remembrance of all the Confederate States of America and United States of America Army and Navy men who lost their life here during the Battle of Mobile Bay and the Siege of Fort Morgan.
Johnny, I told you to stop.
Another cannon. £148. Looks like a question mark on there.
It's something.
32-pounder cannon on a swivel here. Say anything up there? No. Some markings up there, but I can't really make out what they say. Says the 32-pounder gun was the largest of the muzzle-loading smoothbore artillery pieces in American service in the early 1800s. 3 were on hand against the British during the Second Battle of Fort Bowyer in 1815. It remained one of the main coast defense weapons when construction of Fort Morgan was completed in 1834. It says this model right here weighs almost 7,500 pounds. Several different historical markers around here. I'm gonna go walk around and see what these say. This looks like the original Fort Bowyer War of 1812 sign. Fort Bowyer, War of 1812. At or near this site, the United States, after seizing this point of land from the Spanish in 1813, built Fort Bowyer, a structure of wood and sand. A small garrison of men courageously fought to defend the fort against 2 British attacks, one in September 1814, again in February 1815. Second Battle of Fort Bowyer. American forces, 370 men against the British, 3,000 men. February 8 through 12, 1815. Noble Leslie DeVotai, first Alabama soldier to lose life in Civil War. DeVotai graduated in 1856 from the University of Alabama Presbyterian Theological Seminary at Princeton in 1859. In 1856, at University of Alabama, he was chief founder of Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity, only national social fraternity founded in the Deep South. First Alabama soldier to die in Civil War, drowned February 12, 1861 while on duty as chaplain of Alabama troops here. Before enlisting, he was pastor of Selma Baptist Church. He was 23 at the time of his death. So all of this is within 100 yards of the Fort Morgan, which we just walked through. The entrance is right over there. So it looks like Fort Bowyer, the original fort made of sand and wood, was set up right here. Mobile Bay is right through there, right through that walkway. There's also a great little museum right here in the parking lot, and it gives a full rundown of the history of the fort with some really cool artifacts in there.